Hey guys, it's Snailblighter, and this is a replay I had with the Object 260 on Abbey. And you'll notice that I'm actually in a platoon with Panzer IX from G for this game, so that'll come into play a bit later. I wanted to talk a bit about playing in a platoon because I don't normally post replays or commentate over replays where I'm in a platoon. Anyway, this is a game on Abbey, as I mentioned, and I've never really been a big fan of Abbey. It's a corridor-heavy map with very few ways of flanking, and not only that, but for a map that's centered on brawling, it's also pretty open, meaning that Artie generally has no trouble shitting on you unless you're very careful about where you take cover. So I often find I get pretty frustrated playing this map, especially at tier 10, where I think Artie has more impact than at lower tiers. If there's anything more than one Artie on each side, it's very difficult to play this map, I find. You have to just be very, very careful and kind of passive. And so I tend to get pretty frustrated playing it. I just about always go 2-line on this map. I see no point in ever going the 8-line. It's even more of a just sort of corridor than the 2-line is. And especially when there's Artie, it's I don't know, I see no point at all in going to that side ever in pub games. And the middle I see as more a place for scout tanks and low tier tanks to go. So in a tier 10, I always go 2-line. And you saw me stop at that D2 corner, which is something that I'll usually do just to wait for my allies. It's very easy to get, if you move up too quickly, to just get kind of isolated from the rest of your team. So you want to be careful about making sure you have support when you do move up. And I decided to move to this overlook spot in E2. This is a spot that I like to use a fair amount, but especially in this situation, when nobody on my team went middle, I wanted to go here to at least spot what the enemy had sent to the middle, and also hopefully get a few shots in and prevent them from just having free reign over that entire section of the map. The other nice thing about this spot is it's Artie safe, so I don't have to worry too much about getting hit by Artie, and because of how aggressive my team is pushed up on the 2-line, I don't have to worry about getting shot if I want to reverse a little bit behind this ridge that I'm hugging. Now, I wasn't really paying attention to this earlier, but you probably saw the BAT and AMX-30 on my team push up the 1-2 line down to like the G line basically, and just go straight into the enemy heavies that have pushed or that have gone on this side of the map. And so one of the things I could have done was just move straight past this area and try to go support them. But first of all, by the time I kind of realized exactly how aggressive they were playing, it was probably going to be too late by the time I got there for me to really help them. I don't think a move like that is really that good of an idea either, just because it's so difficult to get early information on this map, so that you have no idea what the enemy could be sending here. And because there really are just the two flanks, the 2-line and 8-line, and then you have a few tanks go middle usually, it's typically a pretty safe bet that the enemy has a substantial force on this western side of the map. And so making a blind push like that just off the start of the game is almost never a good idea. And it's not like you really gain any positional advantage by doing it. I actually think that area around G1 from the north side is a really bad area to just get stuck in, unless your team has a clear overmatch on the enemy and you can just kind of push past it. If the flank stalls out and the enemy is just playing passively, like in this situation, you really don't want to be stuck there in that position. So I've been able to get some pretty good shots into the middle, but now that I've killed the T-54E1 and the T-54 is pushed past the middle and the Pershing's a one-shot, I've decided that I don't really need to keep watching that area, so I'm going to move up and support Panzer and his E-100 and the TVP, because the enemy is also starting to push up into us instead of playing more passively. I saw this IS-7 as a one-shot and he's kind of overexposed, so I get a kill shot on him. Unfortunately, our TVP goes down as well because he was in a pretty forward position. Panzer's able to kill the IS-6, and now I see that this E5 is low, so I want to try to focus my shots on him and take him out. It's really important when you're brawling that whenever possible you focus down tanks with low HP so that you can eliminate tanks faster and you have fewer guns shooting back at you. And I'm letting Panzer here take the hits because the E100 has a much better chance of bouncing an E5 and IS-4 than an Object 260 does. And we were still on pretty even amounts of HP at that point, but he gets hit by the T-92, and since I'm really the only one with HP left now, I know that I have to be aggressive at this point, and this is where sharing hit points is really important in brawling. even though I took 2 hits there and I actually bounced the shot on the IS-4, I took a pretty bad shot. I needed to take the focus away from my platoon mates and keep their guns alive so that they could still do damage. Now Panzer low-rolled that Object 704, which kind of sucked, so I had to use my shot to kill the 704, but fortunately he didn't get a shot off on me. And now we have this IS-4 sandwiched. You'll notice there that I hesitated a bit with my shot because I was thinking about tracking the IS-4, but because he had so many hit points left and I wasn't sure if he'd used his repair kit yet, I decided to just make sure to do damage because there was a chance he could have just repaired and gone on to kill Panzer anyway. But fortunately he bounced Panzer and then decided to turn his turret around, and we were able to kill him while both still surviving. So after all that, even though we're both on pretty low HP, we've managed to win the western flank, and that's the benefit of good HP sharing and then just kind of focusing your fire on specific enemy tanks. And so I'm going to go back to base just to be sure that we don't have anything that tries to cap us out. Our teammates have done a pretty good job. Kind of the TDs that we had camping toward the 8 line and in base have done a good job cleaning up the other side of the map. And so even though we're only up by 1 tank at this point, there isn't really anything left that's too threatening other than artillery. So I spotted that Pershing a second too late to catch him out. And even though he's a one-shot, I was super concerned here about getting hit by artillery, so I decided to wait for my tank to delight before I push around this corner and kill the Pershing, even though I'm kind of letting that M53 on my team die because of it. So I get the kill shot on the Pershing, and again I'm going to hug this mountain that's to my right to make sure that artillery can't get any shots on me. There's nothing more frustrating than at the very end of the game when you think you've won the game for your team, artillery just hits you out of nowhere. So I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any chance of that happening. Now the enemy still has an ISU that hasn't been lit yet, but I'm assuming he'll probably just be in base, so I'm just going to go through the middle because I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to meet him there. I actually spot him here kind of surprisingly and get a nice snapshot on the move, and he doesn't even light me in the process. Now of course he can kill me in one shot, so I have to be a little smart about how I engage him. I thought I had a shot there in the M53. And so I'm going to try to side scrape this corner, but I'm going to reverse side scrape. Because of the way the 260's armor is angled, you have a better chance typically of bouncing if you reverse side scrape. And so even though I don't think I actually did a very good job of angling in this particular instance, the ISU tracks me for no damage. And since I reload faster than him, I know I can get a kill shot on him without any risk to me. So I take out the ISU for my 7th kill, and I was hoping to get a Radley Walters, but unfortunately, neither of the 2 enemy arty that are left are in good positions for me to get kill shots on. Anyway, hopefully this video gave you a bit of an idea of some of the things to keep in mind when you're brawling, especially if you're in a platoon with someone you know and are more comfortable playing with. Being able to focus fire on particular enemy tanks and being able to share HP between each other is really crucial for being successful, not just in pub games, but also in competitive game modes like Clan Wars and Strongholds. So the T-49 rolled up the hill before I could get there in time to get my Radley Walters, but there's the end of the replay, and here are the post-game stats. I managed to get an ace tanker this game, as I did about 6,500 damage to go along with the 7 kills that I got. So a pretty good game overall with the Object 260, especially considering the fact that my team kind of deployed a little weirdly, and we were down for most of the match, but I thought Panzer and I did a pretty good job working together toward the end of that replay to win the 2-line flank for our team. And I think that's really, as I said at the beginning of the video, I think that's really the most important flank of the map. So once you win that, you're typically in a pretty good position to win the rest of the game, which we were also able to do. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.